Hi YouTube, Mark Vergeer here. Very early morning. I just watched a video from Longboys Post 1975 in which he describes a movie that he saw last that made him actually jump up and scream, really get him scared. And that got me to thinking, what is the last movie that I actually jumped up and got scared? Yeah, basically I should actually tell you about my love-hate relationship with horror movies, and the fact that I did used to get scared quite easily when I was a small child. When I was a child, we lived in a cottage that was over 300 years old, and I used to get these nightmares that monks with skull heads and rattling chains would walk in procession along my bed, and I would see them, and I would just look at them and pretend to be asleep, hoping that they wouldn't bother me. I think I was about 6 at the time. Quite disturbing dreams, I guess. I also used to believe that there was this grotto underneath our house, filled with bones of deceased people, and I think that image actually stuck in my mind because I accidentally happened to chance upon a magazine. I think I must have been 5 or 6 or something. It's one of these tabloid magazines that I'm not sure where I saw it, but it was from the catacombs in France, in Paris, where they stacked up the bones and stuff. I thought actually something like that was actually situated under my house, and the the reason for me actually for that happening in my mind actually was the fact that my bedroom was actually very close to the stables of a next door neighbor. We lived in the countryside, where there would be cows, of course, the cow theme, where there would be cows, and sometimes they would have chains, and these chains would rattle. So I loathed going to church, so I guess that's the monk theme, So yeah, that's basically the mindset of me as a 6-year-old. I remember watching the Hulk TV series. I mean, the guy always went Hulk 2 times, exactly halfway the episode and at the end. And I used to watch it on a black and white TV, so I didn't even, I mean, the extra color in it when Mr. Banner turned, with his eyes turning yellow and stuff. I only saw that years and years later, but it used to scare the living shit out of me. And we used to watch it together, and I would dissociate on the couch, it's like, whoop. Or just go to the bathroom or something. And everybody laughed at me being such a scaredy cat. But yeah, that's basically. I was a very easily scared kid, and still I used to love the excitement, and that actually brought forth quite an excitement for horror movies. And I think one of the first horror movies that I actually sat through, that I really enjoyed quite a lot, was actually X3PO. I'm not sure if that's a movie. It's some sort of alien horror movie. Of course, aliens. That really make me jump. Still, I can't watch a Hitchcock movie without me getting scared. For a lot of people, these old black and white movies, they may not be as good as as today's movies, but for me, those still, they scare the living shit out of me. And Not sure if I actually screamed. Um, the thing is, I mean, with my I mean, for real, I've actually seen quite a lot of dead people, even some murdered people, autopsies, for real. So gory stuff. It used to scare me as a kid, and when we did gross anatomy, I mean, I had nightmares and stuff. But that actually doesn't scare me. It doesn't do it for me. It's the psychological suspense, the stuff that Dave is talking about. You know that there's an ominous thing going on, and then this main character discovers a handprint on the door, or on the window. I mean, that kind of psychological suspense that really gets to me. Or really disturbed creatures like Hannibal Lecter. I mean, Hannibal Lecter and his that when he suddenly does that, I mean, that really still scares the living shit out of me. And so yeah, I mean, I think my little easily frightened boy brain has grown up and has gotten quite a few calluses. But yeah, I mean, I still like the suspense. I mean, it's always very nice to really get worked up and get super excited or scared, and then you turn it off and you can sigh a breath of relief, and think, thank God it's not real. The thing is, I still do like to watch my horror movies just during the day. If I do it at night or just before going to bed, actually the horror movie that I dream then in my head, that I replay, is about 10 to 20 times worse than the original thing on the disc or the tape or the stream or whatever. So I tend not to do that, because even watching something like Midsummer Murders, quite a nice series, where they are joyfully, there was always 3 bodies, or about 3 bodies an episode. Perhaps the third body is avoided. And anyways, but even things like Midsummer Murders or Poirot get me bad dreams. If I watch them right before going to bed. So I think my brain is less easily scared. And that's actually a shame, because the level of excitement has worn off. I have a hard time really believing what I see, but things like, I mean, the effects, often they're very cheesy, but I mean, the effects of dead people, bodies and stuff, they have gotten a lot more realistic over the years. And sometimes it just reminds me of certain parts of my work, from years ago or something. So yeah, it's kind of ruined it for me, I guess. So yeah, interesting. I mean, I'm very curious after the replies that Dave will be getting on his video. Mine may not be as exciting. I'm not going to show you any clips or titles. Actually, I think the last movie that made me jump up was that movie that actually made me barf in the movie theater, and that was that movie where these kids get lost in I think it was in the 90s somewhere. That very dark series, that very dark movie, Handycam, a very infrared film. They were lost in the woods. It's not the movie Lost in the Woods, but where actually this group of kids that they get lost in the woods, and one gets killed. The group gets smaller, people get killed in very horrible ways, and I actually don't remember how the movie is called, So that's a good, that's a good one. Perhaps you guys can give me some tips because I would like to see it again, but I actually totally forgot the movie. It was very shaky cam, a very wobbly cam, so that actually made me barf. A lot of first-person perspective, turning around, and the fact that you couldn't see a lot actually made it very, very scary. Actually, the things that you don't see actually make it very scary. You know, the handprint on the window or the sounds, and especially the sounds. I mean, if you watch something in the dark, I mean, horror games are very nice, but you have to play it with headsets on and play it in the dark. That's horror games, horror survival games. I do play in the dark, but I always get very horrible nightmares after. I mean, I do get nightmares when I play horror games. It's true, I do. Watching a horror movie. The last one was, I forgot how it's called. I mean, it was a very greenish, grainy movie, and one of the first of its kind, actually. And actually, that made me barf and jump up in the movie theater. So yeah, curious after the other answers people give, and I hope a lot of people do video responses. I always like those. To Dave's, of course, not to mine, because my tag is not original. So yeah, basically that's that. And yeah, you know what's really scary? Of course, this. Floating around in the air now. Okay, well, I'm going to sign off, and I'm having a day off, which is very nice. The Americans just celebrated Thanksgiving, so a happy Thanksgiving to all the Americans, and perhaps the UK folk, the Anglo-Saxon world. Here in the Netherlands, we don't actually celebrate Thanksgiving. It's really must be very weird for those Americans, you know, like you. I mean, you know that people don't celebrate Thanksgiving. You know, one of the big 2 holidays in the year. Oh, I'm rambling on. I'm going to sign off. You know, I'm just going to let you guys go because it's yeah. I've been blathering far too long in this episode. Well, yeah, that's it. Not sure what. Yeah, I'm just gonna go quit. Stop.